The owner of Top Sarge Business Solutions. We're a social media company here in Central Texas. I work with the different social media breakfasts. Not only this one, but I help out with the social media after hours, the lunch meal. And Skibo introduced himself. He's not only just a videographer, but he helped found the Belton Temple social media group. So we're seeing a number of initiatives like this. And we've been doing this. I've been working with Marcus now for going on a year. And one of the things that comes up all the time, we talk often about Facebook and Twitter and how do you integrate different social media into our own either advertising campaigns or outreach campaigns or marketing campaigns. One of the things that we always come back to in these sessions is about a website. So I asked Marcus if we could talk specifically today about how does a fledgling business or a startup, one that doesn't have a lot of budget, how do you develop or update, modify or change a website basically on a shoestring. So there's a couple of different levels of support. This one that we're going to look at now is a good starter package. This is where you start off. The next option that I would suggest that you'd want to branch off to is either hiring a company who has a expertise in doing web development and site design, or hiring somebody in-house. There are a number of organizations here in Central Texas that have a staffer who maintains their page. And then the last one maybe is taking on your own internet service if you were that far advanced, hosting your own websites or putting your own servers in place. So there's a number of different levels, and I'm sure there's all kinds of ways in between that you can do it. But I just want you to understand this is kind of the ground level of building a web presence. Because as great as social media is, as good as it helps us interact with our customers, as good as it helps us communicate, to share stories and information about our products and services. The bottom line is in business, the idea is we want to drive them back to a website, because really we want it to convert. We want somebody you're talking to convert to a sale, to buying the product or your service. Really, that's how businesses hope to use social media, is what is my return? What do I get out of it? So to me, it's conversions. How do you convert a conversation in social media back to a sale? And I tell you, one of the ways you do it is you either drive them to your web presence, which is what I call your hub presence online, which then maybe should have some social media plugs. How do you integrate SharePoint, Facebook? How do you integrate Twitter? How do you integrate maybe some of those other social media tools you may use? If you have a series of videos that you use in your business, how-tos, or we had one gentleman attending who was a flower salesman. He ran a flower shop. So what he would do is he had videos of certain arrangements, and he had them up on his website that he would just load them to YouTube so anybody can view them, but he integrated them into his site. So those are some of the ways that he was marketing. And what he would do is he would use social media. It would generate discussion, and then he would use social media to link back to his web page. So that's one of the ways. Obviously, there's a number of them. So when I started this discussion with Marcus, I said, all right, Marcus, I want to help companies and businesses and people build websites for free. So how can we do it for free? And he says, okay, let's do that. I came across a program sponsored by Google and a number of people. Google, Intuit, Score, Meetup, and you can see some of this is an alliance right here that was formed to help get Texas business online. Website is texasgetonline.com. You can go to it now if you'd like while we're going through this. You can set up your site if you'd like while I'm talking. I've already set up a site to speed the session up. I don't want you all to have to sit here all day while I go through some logins. But this is basically the page that you're going to be you're going to land on. It'll give you some information about tips and tools, some examples of how others have used it. There's a quick video, Google or online video on YouTube, and it'll kind of tell you a little bit about it, but I'm going to show you about it. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. But when you're ready to set up your site, just go to the red button down here, and it says get your website for free. And that's basically what we're talking about. This is after I've already logged in. I've gone through the login process. This is kind of what the screen looks like right here. When I built my site, I had to answer some very basic questions. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you register your site, they're going to ask you for a credit card number. They're not going to charge you anything. There is no charge for using this for the first year. If after the first year you decide you want to use it, it's $4.99. I don't make any money. There's no kickback for me on this. So I found this because this is, as a business, is a good starting point. I would suggest that maybe at the end of a year, after you've established that presence, you may really strongly want to think about going to the next level, maybe considering having a hosted website, having a professional work with you, or you develop some capabilities so you can bring it to the next level. So this is what it will look like after you've logged in. You've gone through the login process. It'll ask you some very basic questions. They'll give you some examples, and you pick a template. Now, you're kind of restricted on this site. You've got to follow their templates. I'll show you about that in a minute. There is a number of templates that you can go through, different themes, different styles, different colors. It's a good starting place. If you don't have the in-house web HTML coding technology available to you or somebody within your organization, this is a good place. It's almost as simple as using Word or any of the Microsoft products. So this is my dashboard when I come in. Actually, this is my login. I've got one domain that I host with them, and it's CenTexSocialMedia.com. I got the free web address. It's not a hyphenated or a subdomain. You know, there are some places where they'll give you a subdomain, like I host some web hosting here in Central Texas, and one of the inexpensive options I provide is subdomain hosting, and the site is texasweb.org. And if my customers want an inexpensive site, they can have their name .texasweb.org, and they're kind of feeding off my subdomain. But what that does is save them $34. Because to register a domain name, there is a cost associated with it. With GoDaddy, it's like $10.99. With others, there may be other costs. But most domain name registrars charge generally the industry's standards between $30 and $35. You can do that, or a lot of people want their brand to be their business. If you are a car salesman and you know, it's Dan's Used Cars, you know, I may want dansautosales.com, which is kind of branded to me. I can have my email addresses, could be dan@dansautosales.com. So having a branded site URL, a universal resource locator, that's a big selling point. I was talking when the session was ready to begin, that personally, when I get an email from a business that's gmail.com or yahoo.com, I'm a little suspect of it right up front. Doesn't mean I won't do business with them, but I am suspect because if a company hasn't established a web presence, then, you know, I always question how viable they are and, you know, what's their plan, and I usually look a little deeper. So now that I've got in, just kind of orient you to it, there's some my domains, my website. This is the core of my site. This is some analytics that go along with it. If you listen to Dan in these sessions, I always hammer home analytics. Social media is analytic enabled, and if you spend a few minutes trying to assess certain activities in the social world, you want to see trends up. You don't like to see them down, generally speaking. If you have something that's spiked, you always want to take a look at that. Maybe you want to duplicate that. If you have growth, maybe you want to continue having growth. If it's a negative trend, the same thing applies. If you have all these new visitors and then all of a sudden it starts falling off, well, what did you do before that caused new visitors to come in? And how do I get that back again? How do I increase that and keep it going? So to me, always, analytics are important to any effort, because if I heard you, ma'am, say, I use social media and it's free. I tell you all the time, it's free for the upfront cost, but it costs you in time, energy, managing and maintaining these sites. There is a cost to it. And if you're a business person, unless you're like me in the social business, that's usually not your primary job, is chatting, web building. You're trying to sell cars, you're trying to sell flowers, you're trying to actually get growth in your organization. So I clicked on enter. I didn't, and I'll show you about the save here in a minute. That's just something I didn't do to get out. Now this really is the dashboard that I want you to see. Now don't let this intimidate you. Anything new, you know, it's like, oh my goodness, there's all kinds of buttons and things, and actually this is my home page of my site. Top Sarge Business Solutions, this is the home page, but I'm on the editor's screen of my site. I know that. This is my dashboard, Site Builder Plus right here. I'm sorry, I'm probably blocking you right here. Site Builder Plus tells me that I'm inside the dashboard to edit. So this is really where the work gets done on how I update and maintain my page. Unless you are dealing with e-commerce or products that change a lot. If you were a real estate agent and you always had new houses coming on the market and houses that you sold and you're going through them a lot, this may not be the type of site for you. But if you have some static information that doesn't need to be updated routinely, this could work very well for your needs. There's some ways you can integrate social media, like your Facebook stream, which could update daily or instantaneously, which requires no interaction from you. In other words, if you have an active Facebook page and you want the content of your Facebook page, the posts and the dialogue and the discussions, you can set that up so it will show on your home page or your pages with just a few keystrokes. So it looks like your page then, which you may not have to maintain or do a lot of work to it, but it always seems fresh because your content is mirrored, it's copied, it's the same discussion is happening on your web page or appearing to happen on it, so then it always seems fresh and new. So orienting you to the page here, these are kind of your key controls. Right here is the save. It's grayed out because I haven't done any actions, I haven't had any activity on here since I logged in. Preview, I can look at how my site looks to my visitors. Publish, the good news about publish is anything I'm going to do to edit my page will not change on the actual page until I click the publish button. So if I'm in here editing and I accidentally wipe out that picture and I'm like, oh no, I don't know what to do, there is a undo button, but if I'm not sure how to get it back, all I have to do is just log out because really I haven't published it, I haven't saved my change, so no harm, no foul. You're okay. And then there is the undo button I was telling you about, and then there's a redo button. So if you say, okay, well, I really wanted to get rid of that picture after I undid it, you can put it back in. Again, a lot like Microsoft Office products. We're used to an undo button on Word or PowerPoint. So those are features most of us are quite familiar with. Once I start doing editing, the buttons that are grayed out, there we go. I just did a perfect example of I accidentally erased something. As you'll notice now, my grayed out buttons have come in, and the one that I'm going to look for right now is undo, because I really didn't want to do that. And voila, I've got it back. And since I didn't publish it, nobody ever saw in real time the mistake, or that wasn't out there missing for a couple of seconds that somebody could have logged in. So some of the other buttons that are available is, I'm going to try to get the drop downs for you. Right here's text. These are the features I can add into my web page. I've kind of used their template, but if I want to put, if my picture had a blank spot, maybe I left a blank spot on purpose so I can put a header that says, our clients or my staff or something. I could do that, and then I could add text to go over it and say something interesting. As you can see, when I hit that, I got this box right here. I can grab it and I can move it over to here. I can edit the text. I've got this extended menu right here, which has got all the features that we may be used to in editing documents. How do I change the font? What size? What color? You see bold, again, very similar icons and buttons that we're accustomed to. You got some extended. I can change the background color. I can add space left or right, which is called padding. I can add a border around the text. This shows a border, but that's not a visible border. That's an editing border. That shows me where I'm at right now. But I can't actually add a real border around it. I can make it a link. I can add a link to it just by highlighting it and then clicking the link button and then add in the URL, HTTP, or a number of things. I don't want that any longer. I just wanted to show it to you. So I'm going to go up and hit my undo. The next one is image. Right here, the second one, a little picture on it. I can put an image in my site. I can add a graphic. Same thing as I did with text. All I do is click on it. It's going to give me a box and says, okay, what image do you want? I can look on my web page. Once I've uploaded a number of pictures, they'll be listed in here. Or I can go to my computer and I can go to where I may have files stored already, images stored, or if I have an image library already set up, which is kind of, image libraries are standard in Microsoft products if you're a Microsoft user. I'm not sure about Mac or Unix, but you give it the file name or you look for it, you can just click on it, and once you click down you can find the image that you're looking for.